Hey guys, welcome back to my series. This is part 3. If you haven't watched part 1 and 2, this is a great time to go here to watch them before you watch this one. So in part 2, I told you how I edited my first real paid job. What am I even saying? My first really paid editing job, right, for a PhD holder. I was feeling myself, guys. It was small money. I couldn't price myself, yes, but it validated the fact that people needed what it was I was offering, and that made me so glad. In this series, I'm going to tell you two major case studies that made me know that, girl, you don't need to play with this skill. You need to make this a real business. Now, I was at the time still in the euphoria of having gotten to edit this series of drama, and I was so excited. I use it as my testimonial to tell everybody that I did for PhD holders. I did any kind of genres. Of course, I didn't know. I wasn't schooled about what the different options were, but I began to do something. I began to research. That time in my country, I didn't know of any company that provided editing services. All the editors I heard about were people working in newspaper companies and all that. So I didn't know a standalone company that offered this for individuals or organizations just as a standalone service. And I told myself I was going to be the first, if not at all, okay? But thank God for Google, right? Google wasn't as massive as it is today, but imagine Google was the best friend I needed. I went to Google and I searched for editing and copy editing jobs, and I saw a lot of people who offer the services, even students in the UK, in the US. So I looked at how they used to price their work. At that time, because of my money block, guys, where I was coming from, it sounded like a lot of money. How could you charge all of this amount for just a page of work? And then when I multiplied it by 10,000 words or 20,000 words, like my clients' work usually were, I was like, how am I going to charge this? So my first money block was that they were not going to pay me. So you know what I did? So for jobs that maybe people in the international community paid or charged at, say, $50, I would charge like $5. So I won't even tell you, so like a 10% of something of what they were charging or so was what I decided to charge, because I still didn't have the confidence to charge that amount of money. I was still fresh out of the excitement that I was paid 21,000 naira for editing a whole lot of work. Well, I didn't know what the practice was. And then I saw that the industry of copy editing was not a regulated one. There was no regulation around this is how things are done if you want to offer editing services, okay? So, well, I didn't let that stop me. I went ahead to learn from the things I learned from Google, how they price their work, how they structured it, how many number of days they used to edit certain volumes of work, the turnaround time. That was where I learned the terms as well. The turnaround time, which is from when you start the job and when you end, and how long it should take realistically. And then I tried to do that with what it took me, and then I came up with structures around what I did and costed it accordingly. And I had to put all of this in. I had to put all of this down so that when somebody asked me how much do you charge for this, and I saw the person's manuscript and the number of words, it was easy for me to say this is how much I charge per page. And then I was also able to determine what a page meant for me. I saw some people used to charge 250 words as a page, while some people used to charge 300 words. So I decided that I should use the 300 words structure. And that was how I set up my business and was excitedly marketing it with the word of mouth and the card that I had. Now, mind you, this was 2009. At this time, I was also still just hustling for jobs. Into 2010, I got a few jobs going. Okay, I had different people send me their manuscripts or their books, and I worked on them. I was charging them based on what I had already outlined. It wasn't a lot of money, trust me, but I was just finding my feet. I was excited that at least people needed this and they were willing to pay for it. Okay, so a turning point came in 2010. I remember I was living with a friend, for some new friends I had met. I was also homeless at the time, guys, so I was squatting. Yeah, they were really nice to me, that they are still my friends today. So anyway, I was in their house when somebody called me that he had given my phone number to somebody who was going to call me to get his book edited, and I was so excited. I remember my friend Francis was the one who directed that person to me, and I'm really grateful. I'm gonna get Francis to watch this video, by the way. Anyway, so Francis told the guy to come meet me, and so I told the guy where he would meet me the next day, and the guy came with copies of his book. Now, he had written a book which was some sort of from real life story, but it was majorly fiction. He had written it for secondary school. He needed it to be approved for secondary schools, and he had done it, finished it, printed it in one of the biggest publishing firms we had in Nigeria at that time, and came with them. So when he started telling me his plight, that was when I knew that this was a bigger deal I was into. Now, this man told me that, showed me the book. I remember the book was such, it looked like the Paysetter series, and I was excited for him. So I told him, why did he need it to be edited? He said he needed the book to be edited, and he had printed over 1,000 copies. But look, this was the problem. He had done this book to be approved for schools. He had taken it to the Education Resource Center within the Ministry of Education in my country, because he needed to get approval before, you know, the books are approved for schools. And that the team of editors within that organization were the ones that, you know, gave him a form to fill, asked him to leave his book for review, and then told him when to come back. When he came back, he gave me the form they gave him on why they could not approve his book. Now, the first thing there was that he had both the English and European types of spelling in his work. His plots were not properly developed, and a few other things that had to do with grammar and then, you know, structure. And he was really down, that he was just in the place hanging out with his friends, telling them about his ordeal on the fact that he had invested so much in this book, and now he is not able to get it into the hands of students like he has planned. And what happened to him when he met my friend Francis, and Francis said, I know one lady who can help you in this town. She will help you correct all the mistakes and all of that, because him being the author or the writer didn't even see those mistakes. So it came to him like, you know, like, what do they mean by this, you know? So after he narrated the ordeal to me, girl, guy, I knew I was doing something very significant, even if you don't tell me, like I knew. And I went ahead to edit that book. We had to go, refer to his publishers, then get them to send the soft copy of the work. Then I have to use it to edit and get it ready for them to be sent off. Mind you, years down the line, that book did not just come out in print. It became a TV series in my country, guys. So that was when I knew that this was no longer a joke, and I told myself I was going to save money to register this business properly, right? Now, also in that around that time as well, I started telling myself that I needed to market this. I needed to put this in a bigger scale. I wanted a website so badly. At that time was when website became really popular in our part of the world, and the monies that they were calling to for the fees were so high, and I couldn't afford it. But I told myself that I would keep asking, I'll keep saving up. Okay, so I had two projects in half. I needed to register this business, and I needed a website. So I told my friend at the time that I needed a website and stuff. When he heard it, he was like, well, that's very easy. You can start with a blog. And I'm like, what's the blog? I have never heard about a blog by that time in 2009. And he showed me a blog he had designed months back or years back, because he used to have an American affiliation, so he understood blogging, even though he wasn't, like doing it as something he was doing as business. And I got really excited, and I was like, oh my God, this looks like a website. He said, that's the thing, that blogging is a website. The only difference is that I can design it without needing a web developer and paying anybody. And I just got like, oh my God. So I told him to teach me. Trust me, I had to go borrow a laptop from my friend Emmanuel at the time. Oh, God bless your heart too. If you're watching this video, you're the real MVP. I borrowed a laptop from my friend Emma, and for 3 days. Now, Emmanuel was somebody whose job was very demanding, and he needed his laptop almost all the time, but he sacrificed for me to use it. The value of great friends can never be underestimated, guys. Anyway, I used that laptop to learn how to blog. I learned how to blog on WordPress. I learned how to blog on blog.com. I learned how to blog on Google, blogspot.com. I practically created a blog on all the platforms I could. And what I did was just to put the name of my company. That was when I said, okay, I'm going to be editing and helping people maybe do their books in the long term. The name that came to my mind was Logos, which is words, and Audibles, which is like audiobooks. Because I remember when I thought of Audibles, I always used to imagine that our textbooks in university were also in audio form, in a way you can just plug it and listen without having to start reading and all that. And I always imagine that if I could do it for educational books or per se, I might get a lot of money. So that was how my mind was working at the time. So I put them together and said Logos Audibles. Okay, I was calling it Logos and Audibles at the time. So that was what I used to set up my blog. So I put up my blog, my services, what I offered. I had different categories where I put my pricing, my contact, just like a regular website. And I was telling my experience. At the time, even I started interviewing authors. The blog was such a buzz at the time. Mind you, it does not exist anymore. I still have it in my archives, right? So I started marketing my blog, marketing this thing very, very seriously. And the idea of blog got me even more excited. I was really excited about blogging. The fact that you come every day, you open it, you'll see so many people reading your blog from different countries, and it will show you the countries where they're reading you from. I was super excited, guys, and I just went blog berserk. Like, I was an editor, but I was blog berserk. That's how I decided to call myself. And that was such a defining year for me, 2009. So I began blogging at that same year, and had worked with a few people at the time. I remember in 2011, anyway, I'll tell you all of that in the next series, but this was one thing I knew, that first of all, there are so many Nigerian authors, because conventional publishing was already no longer popular. As in conventional publishing, I mean publishing where you write a story or a book, and then a publishing firm buys it up from you, publishes it, and then pays you royalty on it. That kind of publishing was already faded out. People were now doing self-publishing, or what people call vanity publishing, where they do their job by themselves, they get an editor for themselves, they get their book designed how they want, and then they go ahead and print it, and they also go ahead and market it, so that way they keep all their profits. That was the turn for us in my country, and I had to tap into that market. In fact, I started thinking that much more. I started seeing the opportunities in the publishing industry, and I totally went full scale, right? In my next series, I'll tell you how this got registered and the things that, the hurdles I had to pass through trying to register it, and how the journey has continued till now. Don't go anywhere. Subscribe, hit the like button, like this video. Also put on the notification on all. If you don't, you will not know when I put the next video. Subscribe and click the bell button and put it on all. That way you will not miss any part of this series. Go ahead and do that now. Catch you later. Bye.